Erased Destiny. Chapter 6. Unconventional Methods. With the money acquired by Merigold, Abella bought several sheep and, in addition, turtle doves. She hid most of the coins for a future dowry for the daughters. She didn't let Ryglan buy the land for fear that, encouraged by the unlimited amount of free time, her husband would slack off more than ever. She bought new bedding and a cauldron as well, and for Ryglan a new scythe blade and an axe. Abella didn't know that Merigold had earned more from the expedition than the bounty Torden had brought. She didn't know because Merigold didn't say a word. The girl decided her money would be safer in the warrior's home, so she didn't collect it. She exchanged plant ingredients for a pair of comfortable shoes, and that was all in terms of her expenses. Rose planned to become a seamstress one day, so she was learning from her mother. Merigold, every time someone asked her about her future plans, answered that she doesn't know. That was not true. Unfortunately, everything Merigold wanted to do was out of her reach. Tired of more and more frequent questions, she decided to talk about the safest option available.
Mom, it appears that I am magical. I have passed entrance tests to Sintra's School of Magic. Could I go to the school?
Oh, Goldie, I am so sorry, but this is far too expensive for us to afford. You won't be able to cover the tuition with your salary, even with our help.
I thought we could pay for at least 2 years. You know, with the money I have earned lastly.
No. That money is for your dowry, not some schools. Without dowry, you won't be able to find any worthy man. So those coins are ruled out. If you really want to learn magic, maybe start with books. Library's membership card is not cheap either, but affordable. If you really want to. I don't think it would be of any use for you. Learning feminine skills like cooking would do more good and give you a decent job as well.
Merigold shook her head. She really didn't like cooking. She couldn't imagine herself working in an inn or similar place. She understood that talking about her future with her parents was meaningless. They would never support her decisions. So, she had to start her independent life.
I understand. Amanda offered me a place in her house. I wouldn't waste time on walking there and back, would have more time for work and learning social skills, maybe even attend some parties in Sintra and meet there someone. You know, may I move to Sintra?
So you're going to live with Amanda, is that right? Well, not that I mind, but I am a bit worried about you. You are still so young. Promise me that you would be very cautious. And don't go to those parties alone. Do you have any friend in Sintra? A bit older, maiden would be perfect.
Not yet, but I will work on that too.
Merigold arranged her dresses and underwear in a sack. She put her 2 dolls, the only ones she owned, a comb, shoes, and an atlas of herbs to another. She looked around the room for things to fill her nearly empty bag with. A wooden cup, 2 ribbons. She was kneeling down to peek under the bed when Rose walked in.
Are you really not going to live with us anymore?
Girls of my age move out.
Not true. 13 years old is not 16. I have already kissed, and you?
No, and I have no desire to. Be careful so that some kissable boy doesn't kidnap you in the woods.
Rose threw a pillow at her sister. She stopped for a moment in front of the mirror to fix the pink ribbon in her hair, and Merigold pulled out from under the bed a worn-out slingshot. She placed the weapon in her bag quickly. Although busy admiring her appearance, Rose paid no attention to her.
Your hair has also become pretty. Like an old gold.
I haven't noticed.
Merigold looked in the mirror, but saw no significant difference in her appearance. The braided strands brought to mind uncut grain, not gold. The gray irises had darkened, falling more into black than graphite. Tanned skin gave Merigold a farmer's look, not befitting an urban artisan. The older sister wondered how the younger one, who had been exclusively in the countryside, managed to keep her complexion relatively pale. Long, wavy blonde hair was Rose's greatest pride, while Merigold was about to have her ugly strands cut. Of the whole family, although they were all more or less blonde, it was Rose who had the brightest waves and the bluest eyes. Merigold packed the pillow and the blanket. Mounts were waiting for her behind the house, so she threw her luggage out the window. Merigold hid with her black steeds from the sight of neighbors, especially those who were older and unhealthily interested in other people's yards. During the day, she rode through the woods. At night, she avoided places where local amateurs of stronger drinks spent their time.
Will you visit us?
Of course, and you would visit me too.
True. I had forgotten. Take care of yourself.
They hugged each other with all their might, and Merigold followed the packs. She fastened all of the bags to one horse and saddled the other. Her parents went out into the field, but she said goodbye to them in the morning. Through the forest, she rode up to Jargon's residence. She hurled a pebble at the window of his room.
Here I am.
I came to say goodbye.
On horseback. Sintra is half an hour from here. Not a big deal.
Something happened? You are not in the mood today.
Jargon put his finger to his lips. From behind the fence, the conversation of his parents reached them.
Jargon needs to start socializing. He doesn't know any girls. He doesn't attend the duel club even. Not that I approve of such activities, but still.
He has plenty of time left. He works, studies, social events nor clubs do not interest him.
It's not about his interests. My dear, we will not live forever. If something were to happen to us, he will be left all alone. Can you imagine that?
Jargon moved toward Merigold's house, and the girl followed him. They tried to not listen to not at all quiet utterances, mostly filled with anxiety.
Last winter he left the living room window open and you had to scrape the ice off the floor. Good that you taught him swimming. At least he won't drown. The stable boy reported that Jargon snuck out of the house yesterday. Fortunately, he didn't fall off the saddle.
Jargon saddled Merigold's workhorse and trotted cross-country towards Sintra. He was annoyed by his parents' debates, lately concerning him only.
I envy you moving out. I really do.
Then do the same. Pack your bag and find a place to stay in Sintra. Find a job. It is not difficult at all.
Thanks, but living alone is not for me. I can't cook, nor clean, nor repair clothes.
The girl nodded her head. Life in a house full of servants must have been wonderful. It left plenty of time for studying, reading books, pursuing one's passions and interests. Merigold sighed. Her existence was filled with raising funds for her own livelihood. Whatever the girl intended to achieve, she had to do it herself. There was no mansion waiting for her, no booming business, no queue of heirs eager to get married.
In 2 years I will move really far away.
Where to? Why? And why exactly in 2 years?
Jargon knew that if Merigold decided something, no one could stop her from putting her bold visions into life. His anxiety was completely incompatible with the exaggerated optimism of Merigold, who gave the impression that she was looking forward to moving out.
I want to live my own life. Meet new people, do interesting tasks, search for treasure or hunt dangerous beasts. Not dye the fabric.
I understand, dyeing fabric is probably rather boring job, but why in 2 years?
16-year-olds leave the family home. With or without a man. In my case, definitely without.
Jargon clenched his jaws. With a wry smile on his face, he pretended to be happy about accompanying Merigold on her journey. He forced himself to ask the most difficult question.
And if you met someone interesting here? Someone who would help you with your plans? Someone, you know, of the opposite gender?
I don't want to get married. I don't feel ready. It may sound silly, but I'm afraid of a closer relationship. I'm afraid I'll do something wrong and everything will fall apart. I'm afraid this boy will hurt me or abandon me or I'll have to take care of him. I don't have time for all that. For getting ready for a date, for gifting my beloved with cookies.
Unlike Abella, Merigold hoped to not find a suitable partner in Sintra.
How quickly the time has passed by. We can already see the gate of Sintra. I'm afraid I will spend a fortune on food in Sintra. Do you perhaps know how much a loaf of bread costs there? No? Well, I can ask Amanda. At least for housing and heating I do not have to pay. I live in the attic at the Dyers, did I tell you? The room is so small that I think I'll keep my clothes outside the window.
Why not in the House of Magic?
The less I have to do with the magics the better. I always get a headache afterwards or fall unconscious or don't remember anything.
Merigold didn't say that Phyllis offered her a room at a price that exceeded her earnings at Amanda's. She didn't say that she would be working at the school in the afternoons in exchange for one hot meal a day. She hid the fact that she was not at all doing as well as she portrayed to everyone. She masked her own anxiety with cheerfulness. The joyful shouts of the girls starting a new life depressed Jargon more and more with each passing yard. They made him realize that he would never choose to live alone if he had any choice.
Merigold. Please. Take care of yourself, okay? And remember that you can always count on me. I'll help you if something doesn't go your way. Promise to let me know if you have any problems.
I promise. Why are you so pessimistic? Sintra is a quiet, safe town where few crimes more dangerous than theft or drunken brawls take place. Besides, my magic works great against people.
They pulled up in front of Amanda's house. The sight of a cloister with slanted walls and a bed as the only piece of furniture triggered an attack of claustrophobia in Merigold. The girl opened the window with all haste, and Jargon put her luggage on the bed.
How can I help you? Do you need anything?
I thought, if I put a shelf over the bed, I will have a place to store my clothes. Don't tell anyone what it looks like here.
In a prison cell you have more space. I'll make a shelf for you, but I think these are not living conditions.
It's just for the nights. Get some sleep and get to work. And in 2 years I'm moving out into the world.
Merigold leaned against the windowsill and gazed at the pale horizon. She imagined other cities, other villages, other lakes, and other forests. She didn't tell Jargon about the money deposited in Torden's house, nor did she tell him about the fencing lessons Torden had agreed to give her in exchange for housekeeping. If 8 hours a day at fabric dyeing, 2 hours at the House of Magic, preparing meals on her own, taking care of tidiness and personal hygiene, Torden's lessons and housekeeping would be summed up. The girl barely had enough time to sleep, not to mention Etienne and her activities like looking for Nathan.
Do you need anything more?
No, thanks. I share the kitchen and the bathroom with the owner of the house and nothing is missing there.
You mentioned that you are looking for someone called Nathan. Did you find him?
No, unfortunately not, but I didn't have much time to look for him either. Why do you ask? Did you meet any Nathan lastly?
Jargon denied. He checked historical records in the library, as his father suggested, but found nothing of importance there.
I have read about one Nathan. He was the leader of the Seekers, the youngest leader in the history of the Crystal Palace, so he had to be an amazing guy, don't you agree? Although he is long dead. Do you think you could dream about such person?
Maybe, don't know. Did they write anything more? How he died?
Well, I can check, if this is important for you.
Please do. If you find anything useful, I would be more than happy. You know, those dreams are really weird. I want to put the end to them. Maybe getting to know Nathan better would help me in getting rid of nightmares. For example, last time I was drowning, trying to save that Nathan. Stupid, isn't it?
When the boy left her room, Merigold climbed out of the window onto the roof. With the help of poison ivy, she made her way to a neighboring building and from there to the ground. She noticed both of her mounts, still tied to a nearby pole. She was surprised that Jargon didn't take either of them. She ran to Pilla's school.
The first student is waiting for you. A bit hysterical, but I'm sure you'll manage. She claims she is cursed, and that is the reason why she had failed her exam. Curses are your major, am I right?
Merigold was unsure what to do. She thought she would be cleaning the school or do some minor jobs, not cure curses. Trusting in Etienne's support, she entered the room that Pillas mentioned. On the floor, a crying girl, about 10 years old, was laying. Her short blonde hair made her resemble a chicken. Her green eyes, red from a long sob, brought to mind a duenna. The dress, too elegant for a girl, reassured Merigold that she was dealing with a rich, probably spoiled and unaccustomed to hardships of studying maiden.
I did not pass. I have failed the Earth Control exam. Oh, I am not good at anything.
The first exam's purpose was to test an adept's mastery over their chosen element. Merigold sat on the bed and looked around the room much larger than her own. On every shelf stood dolls, most of which were covered with a layer of dust. Evenly stacked, richly decorated dressers hid many clothes and shoes, and a basket for dirty laundry stood completely empty. The lack of books in the adept's room worried Merigold a bit. The lack of notebooks, pens, or anything related to study worried her even more.
Where are your textbooks? Did you pass the elementless magic exam? Can you cast any light spells?
It's all the curse's fault. I'm not succeeding at anything. I lost the ability to cast spells.
Another wave of sobbing exhausted Merigold's patience. The would-be teacher stood up and moved toward the exit, but the girl grabbed her by the dress.
Don't leave me. I don't want to be alone.
If you stop crying and explain to me what is going on, I will help you. I am a death mage and curses are my specialty. Your choice.
Will you really help me? Really?
Yes. What is your name?
The girl sat down, with a ragged, heavily worn doll in her hand. Muddy shoes and an elegant, crumpled dress. She looked stranger than anyone Merigold had ever met in her life. The whole picture was completed by short, almost white hair, bright green eyes, now with red rims, and a small triangular face. The girl had a green pebble hanging from her neck, perhaps a valuable one.
Ume, in brief.
My name is Merigold, Goldie for short.
Do you introduce yourself with your full name? Aren't you afraid someone would curse you?
Not really. Name curses are spells in between death magic and mind magic, so you only need to have a will stronger than the attacker to neutralize them.
The sudden surge of knowledge surprised Merigold. She tried to look serious and scholarly, but she had a feeling that her efforts were in vain. She didn't feel confident in her imposed role.
Wow, you know a lot. In that case, help me.
First things first, you said you failed your exam. Why do you think there is a curse casted upon you? Do you have any enemies? Do you recall any sensation of sudden chill and tiredness lastly?
It's all the curse's fault. I am sure of it. I already drank the blood of a buzzard, but it didn't help.
Merigold shuddered at the thought of doing something equally disgusting. Mo was lucky that she did not die of poisoning.
I see. In that case, we need to perform a ritual to remove the curse.
Ritual? At night? In the cemetery? And ghosts will appear?
Yes, at night, but not in the cemetery. At the top of the hill. After all, the curse blocks your earth magic.
Yes, that makes sense. You are so smart.
Merigold hoped no one, especially Pillas, was eavesdropping on this conversation.
We will need candles, and a stone circle. Can you fly?
No, but I could cast light spells, and some fire ones. Although, according to the future teller, I have a talent for all elements. I will become the most powerful mage in the world.
This Merigold did not doubt. Couldn't handle the simplest spells, so she imagined a curse that supposedly haunted her. In addition, she studied the wrong element based on the words of a woman who made a living telling people what they wanted to hear.
I will come for you at night. Wait for me in this room. And don't fall asleep. Dress warm and comfortable. And remember, it will be very, very dangerous. But we have to do it to get rid of the curse.
I am not a coward. I am not afraid. And I will be ready at midnight.
She ran to the drawer and took out a bag from it, which she handed to Merigold.
Surely you must buy something for this ritual, right? Candles and so on.
Merigold thanked her and went out into the hallway. She smiled to herself. This way she could earn a lot more and without tiring herself at all. She passed Pillus holding his stomach and unable to catch his breath because of sudden laugh attack, passed several closed rooms and went outside.